Hi, this is Kate Maven, and this is secret number 11 of 101 Secrets of Canadian Culture. Secret number 11 is about tone and body language. I've given you some ideas about ways to talk to people, but if you don't use the right tone and you're not careful with your body language, you'll give us the wrong impression, and people may be hostile or unfriendly to you. So here's some things you should know about tone. The first thing to know is that our tone goes up and down. In some languages like Mandarin, tone is connected to the meaning of the words. But for us, tone is connected to emotions. And so we use tone to indicate friendliness or anger or frustration or sadness. In general, you should keep your tone high and it should go up and down. So I think a really good way to practice the tones is the word really. If you tell me that you've got a new job and I want to show that I'm excited, I'm going to use a rising tone. Really? That shows excitement and surprise. Really? I get a little bit squeaky. Now, a man is not going to go, ee! A man is going to go, really? But you notice there's this rising tone. If you tell me you've got a new job and I don't believe it, I'm going to use a low tone and a sort of a flat tone to indicate that a negative response. Really? Again, there might be rising and falling, but it's quite flat. Really? Really? I'm stretching it out and I'm using this low tone to indicate that I don't believe it. And if I'm a little bit angry, if you said, I got a new job and you got the job that I wanted, I might say, really? And I'm going to be louder. That loudness indicates anger. You have to be a little bit careful here with your tone of voice. If you sound too loud, we don't like it. I think I'm probably a little bit too loud in general because I grew up on a farm and we were always shouting at each other. But softer tones are considered to be more polite. However, I want to tell you that when I was an employment counselor and I had a Chinese engineer who was an incredible engineer, his background was fantastic. His Canadian qualifications were perfect. And he had been on like 9 interviews without getting a job. And so I did practice interview with him because I thought maybe he's not sure how to do an interview in Canada. And I said to him, can you tell me about your last job? And he said, well, in my last job, I was responsible for one of the biggest projects in Canada. And his tone was so soft and so flat that it was very hard for me to believe him. That for some reason we equate a little bit louder volume and an up-down tone with self-confidence. And unfortunately, we equate self-confidence with skill. So here was this guy with an incredible background. And when he was in an interview, he came across as someone with no confidence, who was maybe a little bit shy and a little bit maybe even depressed. And nobody wanted to hire him. So I made him practice. When I was in China, I was the head of a major project for all of China. And I said to him, how does that sound? And he said, not good. I said, do you feel like you're shouting? He said, yes. I said, that's what I want you to do in your next job interview. and he did it, and he got the job. So you have to sound loud enough, and your voice needs to go up and down enough to seem confident. In a lot of countries, shyness or humility is a strongly valued characteristic. And in Canada, that kind of humbleness that you were expected to, the attitude you were expected to have about yourself at work here means you probably won't get the job and you probably won't get the promotion. When somebody asks your opinion, you need to give it and you need to sound like you believe it. And how do you do that if you come from a culture where that would be somewhere between wrong and crazy? Okay, like for him to say I was in charge of one of the biggest projects in China is not something he would normally have said in a job interview. So I said to him, you have to say that in the bathroom until you can say it like it's great news. And he did, and he got the job. An enthusiastic tone is really important here. You don't have to really act like everything's fantastic. Of course, there's a wide range of characters, and my character is very emotional and expressive, and not everyone is as emotional and expressive as I am. But you need to be, your voice needs to go up and down enough, at least enough that people will believe you. Connected to that idea of the up-down tone showing that you are interested and that you are sincere is making eye contact. In a lot of cultures also, you should not make eye contact in a job interview, for example. But here, we think that eye contact means that you are sincere, that you are telling the truth. And we think if you look away while you're speaking, that means that maybe you're lying. And of course, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're lying, but our culture is that it's, again, in a job interview in particular, that if somebody asks you a question, you need to make eye contact and smile while you're answering. I know I said a little bit about smiling in secret number 3, but I want you to keep it in mind. It has to do with tone as well. The other thing that you have to be concerned with is if somebody says hello to you and you say hello, they think you're not very excited to see them. Even though you could say good to see you or I'm happy to see you. If you use that flat tone, for us it means I am using polite words, but I really don't mean them. Okay, your good to see you needs to go with a smile. Okay, that's that body language confirmation that we're looking for in order to believe you when you say something positive to us. Okay, the next thing I want to tell you about body language is crossed arms. Let me get up a little bit. Crossed arms. In many cultures, to stand like this is absolutely normal. But in Canadian and American culture, crossed arms is considered a closed posture. And it means that you're defensive or you are not that interested in the person you're speaking to. So again, particularly in a job interview, that crossed arms is a very bad thing. If you're in a job interview, you should put your hands either together on the table in front of you. Let me see if I can show you. Put your hands like this together on the table in front of you or on your lap. Fidgeting is not acceptable. So I'm a person who's one of those, I like to fidget with things. Even as a teacher, I like to have something in my hand. I'm an energetic person, and so I like to have something in my hand. But in a job interview, I'm very careful not to fidget. Okay, another difference from Canadian culture to the culture you may have come from is about touching. Now, some cultures have more taboos about touching than we do, but some cultures are much more touchy than we are. Normally, I don't touch people that I'm speaking to. Normally, the only person I might touch while I'm speaking to them might be my husband. To touch someone while you're speaking to them indicates a very close relationship. So if you're sad, if you're my friend and you're sad, I probably will, I might rub your shoulder, something like that, to show you that I'm listening and that I have sympathy. I would recommend that you, in general, avoid touching people unless you're good friends with them. After COVID, that might even apply to handshakes. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where handshaking will go because of the pandemic. Another bit of body language that's important to keep in mind is that when we say sorry, our voice again needs to go up and down. Sorry, sorry, okay? And it's best if you shrug. Sorry. If you can shrug with one shoulder. Sorry. But we also put our hands open in front of us. Sorry. Sorry. I might tip my head, lift my eyebrows. Sorry. And that shows that I'm sincere. If you keep a straight face, no shoulder, no hands, and you just say, sorry, it sounds like not sorry. Okay, so the physical part of the gesture is really important to us for us to believe that you are sincere. Another thing that is not acceptable in our culture is tapping. So that gesture is quite rude here. In a meeting, don't do it. At a restaurant, don't do it. It's not acceptable. I mean, you can do it at home anytime you want, but in general, it's not a gesture that we would accept. Another thing that you might be different from your culture is that pointing at something like this is also considered quite rude. We say this is a gun, bang. Okay, so we don't point with our finger. If I want to point to something, I will use my open hand face up. You can use your whole hand, open and face up. I can point at something. Oh yeah, look over there. Okay, that's how we point at things. Okay, I think that's all the points that I have to make for tone and body language. Remember to keep your tone rising and falling to show interest, and to show excitement, rising. Really? That really? Go up to show excitement. Hi, hi. Good to see you. Using that tone, you should practice it, again, in the bathroom, wherever you can. You should practice it until it feels natural. And be careful of your body language. My next video will be secret number 12, personal space. It's connected to body language, but it's a whole separate subject in itself, because this can be very, very different from Canadian culture to other cultures. And so I will explain more about how close or how far you should stay from a Canadian when you're talking or interacting with them. Again, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. If you'd like to learn more about Canadian culture, please check out my book, 101 Secrets of Canadian Culture. It's available on Amazon in most regions, and in Canada, it's available on Amazon.ca. See you next time. Bye-bye.